ADDIE is a 5-phase model of instructional systems design. ADDIE, an acronym for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate, has been around for quite a while. Originally designed for the military, the model has evolved over the decades and is now used by instructional designers across the globe. ADDIE is a versatile, flexible model that can incorporate other models of instructional design. Let's take a look at some of the activities in each of the phases. The first phase is analysis. This is where you identify the problem and determine if training is the right solution. Then you may do a needs, job, or task analysis, articulate the learning goals from the organization's perspective, begin to think about course and content authoring, and most importantly, determine who the learners will be and what their needs are. In the design phase, and yes, analysis is likely still going on, you should be designing the course evaluation based on input from your subject matter experts and the learning goals. You'll need to decide if you'll use something like the Kirkpatrick model or something else. Once you have the evaluation plan drafted out, the learner-centered learning objectives and assessments can be crafted and sequencing can be decided on. This part can get pretty messy in more complex course design. The key here is to pull together all the resources needed to plan and design the learning. The next phase is the fun part, for me anyways. This is where you develop the content by taking all that you have discovered and begin to create the actual learning objects. This can take many forms, and if you decided in phase 1 that differentiation was important, you may have to create learning content in more than one format. You may, for example, create it first in text, then create a story for a branching scenario, and then create some video or a game, all around one learning object. Your authoring tools and method of delivery will influence a lot of these decisions. At this point, try to test as much of your content as you can. Once you have some content designed and developed, you can nudge into the implementation phase by continuing to test in a more structured way. You may run a pilot with test learners that are similar to the folks you're designing for. If you're using facilitators or trainers, then they should begin training here at the latest. At this point, you should be asking what's working and what has to change. The final phase is evaluation. Although you may have been evaluating all along, it's at this point, after you deliver a pilot or the real deal, that you'll use your evaluation plan to look at the curriculum, the content, the platform, the methods, and anything else that might influence the intended learning. At this point, you'll be asking, what needs to change? The time it takes to complete the ADDIE cycle depends on what kind of learning you're designing, who the learners are, and of course the scope. And if your preferred method is more agile and iterative, then you never really finish. You just go through the cycle over and over, always iterating, adjusting, and improving the learning experience.